All right, today we're going to talk about a book that's basically a legend in computer science, Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programs, or as pretty much everyone calls it, SICP. And look, this isn't about learning some obscure programming language. It's about rewiring your brain to think about programming in a totally new way.
So let's start with this quote because it gets right to the heart of what SICP is all about. It's saying that programming is really about communicating ideas to other people. The fact that a machine can execute it, that's almost the side effect. I mean, think about the last time you tried to read your own code from 6 months ago. Was it clear? SICP argues that making it clear for humans is goal number one.
And that brings us to the big question, right? It's a fair one. This book is old and it uses a language called Scheme, which, let's be honest, you're probably not using at your day job. So why bother? Well, because the lessons here have absolutely nothing to do with syntax. They're about the timeless, fundamental ideas for managing complexity in any large piece of software.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to treat this like a climb. We'll start with why it's worth the effort, then we'll tackle some core ideas like abstraction and the problem of time, and finally, we'll reach the summit, which is all about creating new languages. And of course, we'll connect it all back to the code you're writing today.
Okay, so first up, why climb this mountain at all? Well, it's because SICP is not really a book about code. It's a book about concepts. It's about filling your head with a bunch of powerful mental models for tackling complexity, whether you're building a massive system or just a tiny script.
Now, at its core is this kind of fancy-sounding idea, procedural epistemology. But don't let the term scare you. It's actually pretty simple. Think about a recipe for a cake. The list of ingredients, flour, sugar, eggs, that's the what. But the step-by-step instructions for how to actually combine and bake them, that's the how-to. SICP gives us a language to express these how-to processes with absolute precision. It's a whole new way of thinking about what it means to know something.
And that leads us right to our first major tool for managing complexity, procedural abstraction. So how do we build enormous, complicated systems without our heads exploding? The answer is, we build with black boxes.
This image from the book shows it perfectly. We've got a function to calculate a square root. Now the main SQRT function at the top, it doesn't know or care how the good enough function works. It just trusts that it'll get a simple true or false. It's a black box. This means we can completely change the insides of good enough later on, and as long as it still does its job, the main function never has to change. This is procedural abstraction, and it's the bedrock of everything from functions to microservices.
Now here's a really subtle but brilliant point from the book. There's a huge difference between how a procedure is written and the actual computational process it creates. A recursive process is like a chain of deferred operations. It has to remember its whole history. An iterative process, on the other hand, is like a snapshot. All its state is right there in a few variables. It doesn't need to remember the past. Understanding this difference is just crucial for reasoning about performance and memory, in any language. Okay, so we've figured out how to hide the complexity of how things get done. The next logical step is to hide the complexity of what things are. This is the whole idea behind data abstraction.
And this diagram right here, this is one of the most powerful ideas in the whole book. You've got these abstraction barriers. At the very top, our program is just adding two rational numbers. It has no idea how they're actually represented. The middle layer knows there's a numerator and denominator, but it doesn't know how they're stored. Only the bottom layer knows the concrete details. Each layer is like a firewall, which means we could completely change that bottom layer, and as long as the interface doesn't change, the top layer is completely oblivious. That is the secret to maintainable software.
And all of this leads to what the authors call the principle of least commitment, which is really just a smart way of saying don't make decisions you don't have to make yet. By hiding our data behind these barriers, which today we just call a good API, we keep our options open. We can completely gut the internals later, and as long as we honor that API contract, the rest of the system just keeps working. It's brilliant. So far, our programs have been really elegant, almost like pure mathematics. But now, we're about to introduce something that changes everything. We're going to introduce time, and with it, the incredible power and the incredible danger of a mutable state.
You know, for the first couple of chapters in SICP, our programs are basically timeless. An expression always gives you the same value, period. But the second we introduce assignment, the ability to change what a variable holds, suddenly time crashes into our nice, clean model. The order in which things happen now matters a lot.
And this brings us to a super important concept called referential transparency. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. It just means you can swap an expression with its value and the program still works the same. 1 plus 1 is always 2. You can make that substitution anywhere, anytime. That property is why pure functions are so easy to reason about.
Well, assignment just shatters that beautiful property. Look at this table. The expression is just plus x1. But what's its value? Well, it depends on when you ask. Before we change x, it's 11. After we change it, the exact same line of code gives you 6. The meaning is no longer self-contained. It depends on time. And this right here is the root cause of so many bugs and so much complexity in software.
Okay, we've built abstractions for procedures, and we've built abstractions for data. Now we're heading for the summit of the SICP mountain. We're going to talk about the most powerful abstraction of all, building new languages.
After wrestling with state, the book opens up these incredible new possibilities. It introduces concepts like streams, which let you model infinite data structures, but the real peak, the ultimate tool for taming complexity, is what the authors call metalinguistic abstraction. So, what is that? It's the mind-bending idea that instead of trying to force a problem into a general-purpose language like JavaScript, you first create a small, new language that is perfectly suited for expressing the solution to that one specific problem. You basically stop being just a language user and you become a language designer.
And this right here is probably the most profound insight in the entire book. An interpreter for a language, the thing that actually makes the code run and gives it meaning, it isn't magic. It's just another program. It's code that you can write and you can understand. And once that clicks, it fundamentally changes how you see programming. You're no longer just a consumer of languages, you can be a creator.
Okay, we've made it to the top, so now let's take a look around. How does all this decades-old wisdom actually apply to the Python or JavaScript or Rust code that we're writing every single day?
The answer is, these ideas are literally everywhere. Procedural abstraction? That's just functions, modules, and microservices. Data abstraction? That's the whole point of good API design and object-oriented programming. That constant struggle with mutable state? That is the absolute core challenge of building concurrent and distributed systems. And metalinguistic abstraction? You use it all the time. SQL is a language for talking to databases. JSX and React is a language for describing user interfaces. They are all specialized languages designed to solve a specific problem.
So at the end of the day, studying SICP isn't about learning scheme. It's about training your brain to see these deep, recurring patterns in all software. It teaches you to look right past the syntax of whatever language you're using and to understand the fundamental structure of computation. It turns you from someone who just writes code into someone who designs systems.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. The ultimate lesson from SICP is that the best way to solve a hard problem is to invent the perfect language for expressing that solution. So as you go back to your own work, don't just ask, how do I code this? Ask yourself this, what new language does my problem need? Thanks for watching.